Okay. So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mr. Brennan, the building principal, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 21-22 school year. Can't believe that we're at the 21-22 school year already. You can see I am not wearing my mask. I am about 10 feet away from anybody here in the room. And I'm going to talk about masks in just a moment. But I just want to point out that our assembly this morning is being recorded. And the reason we are recording this is because we are going to encourage your parents to sit down and re-watch this assembly with you. And the reason for that is that we want your parents to know exactly what information we shared with you today so that we can partner all together for your success. We are all here to make sure that you have the most successful beginning to middle school and set a good solid foundation as you move forward. And in order to do that, we need you as the students to partner with all of us, your administrators and your teachers, and we need your parents to partner with us as well. So we feel it's important that they know exactly what it is we say to them. Now, the masks. I know that the masks are annoying. I get it. And I get that a lot of you are over this and you don't want to be wearing masks anymore. However, these right now are what is keeping us in school. It's what's keeping us in-person instruction, and it's what's allowing sports to happen, clubs, activities. So because of this, we're able to stay in school. Now, right now you're all in pretty close quarters to one another, so it's very important that you all have your masks up over your nose, covering your nose and your mouth. Your teachers are going to do their best throughout the day to give you mask breaks. It's very important that you follow their guidance when they're giving mask breaks. And what you'll notice they're doing is they're going to probably be doing something like every other row. And it's very important that when it's not your turn for a mask break that you keep your mask on. And the reason for that is if you have your mask down and are less than 3 feet away from somebody else who had their mask down, and that person contracts COVID, you now have to go home and quarantine. If you had your mask up and were at least 3 feet away, and if we do every other row with mask breaks, it would allow that to happen, you would not have to go home and quarantine. And our goal is to keep you in school. We do not want to have to send you home. So please, make sure that you are wearing your mask the proper way when you need to, and when you get those breaks, make sure you're following the directions of your teachers. That is so, so important so that we can keep you all here in school. After almost 18 months of either hybrid learning or some kind of remote situation, it's been a struggle for everyone. And as a result of that, a lot of you have fallen behind in some of your studies. Our focus this year, one of our two main focuses, is reconnecting to in-person instruction. I think that the pandemic has taught us that there is no replacement for being in the classroom. Yes, can you learn remotely and online? You can. Is it the best way to learn? Absolutely not. And I believe that the pandemic proved that. So we really need you all to focus now. As sixth graders, you're building the foundation now it's going to take you through into 7th, 8th grade and beyond into high school. So it is so important that you recommit to your in-person instruction. Your teachers are going to be working very, very hard this year to identify any areas where you need additional support. But they can't do it alone. You have to buy in. You need to make sure that you are raising your hand and asking questions. If you are confused about something going on during a lesson, you can't let the lesson continue without making sure that you are aware of what is happening. Ask questions, raise your hands. The teacher may turn around and say, you know what, I really need you to come back for extra help so I can help clarify that for you. You need to make that effort. You need to get the extra help. More than ever, you cannot fall behind. We're already too far behind from the last 18 months. It's so important that we move forward positively, focusing on our education. So please, that needs to be your number one commitment. The second commitment you're going to be hearing a lot about this year is good citizenship. We expect every student in East Islip Middle School to be a good citizen. And what that means is you treat everybody with dignity and respect, regardless of their race, their gender, their sexual orientation. You respect everyone for who they are. You respect their differences. You don't have to always agree with everyone, but you need to respect their opinions as you would expect them to respect your opinions. So the rule of thumb is, do not treat anybody in a manner different than you would want to be treated. Kindness matters. Kindness counts. Along those lines, as do all schools in New York State, we follow DASA. And what DASA stands for is Dignity for All Students Act. And simply what that means is that every person in this building, student, staff member, is to be treated with dignity and respect. Nobody has the right to mistreat anyone. And we certainly are not going to accept anyone bullying, harassing, or intimidating anyone in this school. Now, this may sound like a negative, but if you are somebody who is bullying and harassing, I promise you this, we are going to discipline you to the full extent of the code of conduct. But I want that to be a positive for all of the students who come here wanting to be in a safe, comfortable learning environment where they don't have to feel uncomfortable about asking questions, they don't have to feel uncomfortable about being themselves, because this is in place to protect all of you. You cannot get a good education if you don't feel safe and comfortable in school. Now, the coordinators of DASA in the building are myself, Mr. Thorley, and Mr. Seifert, the two assistant principals, and one of our lead investigators who really goes in and investigates a lot of these incidents is our school social worker, Ms. Johnstone. She's up here to your left. She's going to give a wave. Ms. Johnstone is in the guidance office, and you can certainly go in and see her if you have a concern. You must report it. We can't help you if we don't know about it. If somebody is teasing you or bothering you or making it difficult for you to get your education, we can't help you if you don't know about it. You can report something to any adult in this building. Me, Mr. Thorley, Mr. Seifert, Ms. Johnstone, a secretary, a custodian, anyone working in the building, any adult, if you report something to them, it will get to us, and I promise you that we will look into it. So those are our two big focuses this year. We are focusing on our academics and reconnecting to in-person education, and we are focusing on being good citizens of East Islip Middle School. Two very important people in the building are my two assistant principals. To your right is Mr. Seifert. He is primarily going to be working with the 8th grade. And to your left is Mr. Thorley, who is your grade level administrator. He will be working with you through 6th and 7th grade, and then when you move on to 8th grade, it will be Mr. Seifert. So they're pretty important people. You want to give them a pretty big round of applause. So as Mr. Thorley is going to be your grade level administrator, I'm going to invite him up next to say a few words. Mr. Thorley.
Thank you, Mr. Brennan. Welcome. I had a chance to speak to a number of you at our orientation a little while back, and again, I'd like to welcome you again to the East Islip Middle School. I hope the first couple of weeks, I know the schedule has been 2 days, 3 days, we'll get into a routine and we're going to get there, so don't worry. I do want to start off by saying, just kind of piggybacking off of what Mr. Brennan said, that we recognize that these are very difficult, and I have to tell all of you that all of you, and it was pretty much all of you that were at our orientation, did a great job, great start at the orientation. You came in, you were wearing your masks, you were looking to get your lockers open, you asked questions, you circulated through the building, getting a good feel for it. So I'd like to give you guys yourselves a round of applause. Go ahead. You guys set the tone for the beginning of this year just by what I observed prior to us starting this year. So From speaking to a number of you and getting a chance to meet a bunch of you, you guys are all getting started on the right foot, and let's continue that as we continue through this year. Again, just a couple of reminders. If you're having trouble with your lockers, you guys have been doing the right things. Start with your teacher, and I've seen you guys out in the hallways working as a team. If it gets to a point where it's a problem, obviously, then you can bring it to my office. My office is right on the second floor, right down the hall from most of your core classes, right down heading into the other part of the building on the second floor. I've had the pleasure of meeting a bunch of you already, and hopefully we've been able to resolve the problems with the lockers. I know some of you right off the bat were very concerned about getting to your classes and figuring out the building. Don't worry, you will figure it out. And I'm seeing already a bunch of you already figuring out, just like we told you it would happen. Just give it a couple of days, you'll get yourself into a routine. Ask for help when you need help from the adults, and that should get you going in the right direction. All right, again, with the reminder with the mask, like I said, I'm not going to get into it again. Mr. Brennan did. You guys are doing a great job with it. Keep it up. Just another couple simple reminders. Like I said, one of the things is with cell phones, we know that you do have them. You guys have been doing a great job of putting them away in the morning, putting them on vibrate, turn them off, whatever. If we don't see them, we don't hear them, we don't have to take them during the school day. All right? You've been getting to your classes on time. It's going to be an adjustment process, and so far so good, so let's keep the positive vibes going. Along that line, in addition to what we have to offer during the school day, we want to see you guys get involved. This whole thing that we're really focusing on is the return to some sense of normalcy. We want you guys to have some kind of normal, like it was before things, kind of went sideways 18 months ago. We're putting together a lot of great opportunities and activities for you guys to get involved with. Please get involved. We want you here after school, getting involved in productive activities. Listen for announcements about clubs and activities you can join. We've already heard some about the homework club getting started. It's a positive, productive place to get involved with your classmates. Work together, work collaboratively to get things done. Be on the lookout for intramural activities that'll be taking place in the morning or after school for our 6th graders. So that when the time comes, when you get to 7th grade next year, which will go quickly, believe me, you'll be allowed to start participating in many of our middle school sport programs that we have. So this is where you lay the foundation now. Get involved in the intramurals, get involved in the activities after school. Start what they call building your resume as you progress and mature and get older. So there's a great opportunities that we have here for you. We want to keep it positive and get you moving forward. And along those lines, I've had the pleasure of walking in your hallways and meeting a bunch of you. And one of my colleagues said this, and I can't support it enough. Just say hello to people. If someone says hello to you, say it back. Someone says good morning to you, say it back. Someone tells you to have a great day, say it back. It's amazing how it can get your day started in the right foot. And again, the past 18 months has kind of, forced us away from that based on the circumstances. We have to get back into doing those simple things. Like Mr. Brennan said, kindness, generosity, just say hello to people. If you have any questions, you know where my office is on the 2nd floor. Mrs. Kavanaugh, my secretary, as I always jokingly call the brains of the outfit. Ask her if you have questions. If I'm not available, she'll find me and we'll get you the answers you need. We work as a team here, Mr. Brennan, Mr. SEIFERT. If one of us is not available, someone will find you and someone will help you. Again, it's been great getting to know a bunch of you in these first couple of days. I'm very excited about your class and what your class is going to succeed and be successful over the next couple of years here. And I look forward to a great year with each and every one of you. At this time, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Mr. SEIFERT.
And many talents. So my name is Christian SEIFERT. I am the assistant principal for the 8th graders, but of course you can see me whenever you would like. I am on the first floor opposite guidance. As I met some of you The first few days of school, when I asked how are you liking the middle school so far, a lot of you told me that you love it because you have more freedom. I must tell you, with all this new freedom that you are enjoying, there comes responsibility. Okay, so yes, you are moving around a little bit more than you are used to from the elementary schools, but you have to make sure that you are arriving to class on time as you go from class to class. You now have a locker for the first time, many of you. You must learn your combination. You must learn how to get in and out of that locker as fast as possible. And you have to learn what's appropriate to carry and what's appropriate to store in there as soon as you can. Also, as you walk through the hallways, you can't be running, you can't be pushing, and you can't be shoving. Okay? I remember when I was a middle schooler, I had Mr. Matzner, and I would arrive late to class at the beginning of the school year, and he would tell me, he said to me, Christian, if you are late even 1 or 2 minutes a day, that adds up. If you're late to my class every day for a minute or 2, after 2 weeks, you've already missed 1 full period of instruction. And then I did the math in my head, and it made sense. You gotta be to class on time. Make sure you're walking through the hallways with a purpose. Make sure you're walking with your hands to yourself. Make sure you're in and out of that locker as fast as possible. And yes, there are more freedoms here in the middle school than in the elementary school, but you have to be responsible with those freedoms to enjoy them. Anybody that knows anything about schools, piggybacking off a little bit of what Mr. Thorley said, they will tell you that the key to success is to be involved. We want kids staying after school. We want children staying after school in adult supervised activities. We want you to get involved. There's a lot to do here, whether it's sports, music and arts, or outside of those areas, just like you heard before in the morning announcements, the newspaper, there are clubs and activities that you can get involved in. And you have to get involved. It's good for you, it's good for us, and it means that you will probably stay out of trouble. These should be some of the best years of your life, and those of us that are older look back very fondly upon our middle school and high school years because we were all involved. So there's a lot of good stuff to get involved in. We hope you do that. You should do that. And my name again is Mr. Seifert, 8th grade assistant principal, but of course you can see me whenever you would like. At this point, I'd like to hand it over to Mr. Brennan again.
Thank you, Mr. Seifert. Along the lines of involvement, some of you already know her, you have her as a teacher, but our advisor to student government, Ms. Nolan, would like to come up and say a few words about student government. Ms. Nolan.
Hi guys, how's everybody? Good. So one of the clubs that we have in school is student government. There are many more. Homework club that Mrs. Freeze does as well. But the reason that I wanted to speak to you today is because student government is a little different in middle school than it was for you in elementary school. In elementary school, I believe you needed to get voted in to be a member, yes? Okay, so now in middle school, everybody is able to join. So if you are interested, our first meeting is going to be this Friday after school. I'm asking everybody to come to my room and sign up so that I can put you on the Google Classroom. This way you'll get the information about the meetings and the events. If you're a member of student government, you do not need to run for any position. Does everybody understand that? You'll just be part of the club, doing the events and planning the events. Some of the events that we're going to have that are open to everybody, whether they're in student government or not, as long as it's still okay, will be a pumpkin decorating contest in October. We're going to have a gingerbread house decorating contest in December. And then for Mother's Day, probably in May, so it's a little bit before, we do a flower pot decorating contest. So that's a fun thing that you can do after school with your friends, and maybe you can win a prize. We'll also do some movies, and if you're a member of student government, you'll help vote for the movies that we're going to do. And the movies, again, are going to be open to everybody. So if you're interested, come see me in room 203. Put your name on the sign-up sheet, and I will give you an invitation to the Google Classroom. If you forget to stop by, that's okay. Just come to the meeting on Friday, okay? Thanks.
Yes, applaud for Miss Nolan, she's the best. Okay, just a couple more things before we head out. I made a request to remind all of you, when you leave music class, you should not be sprinting down the hallway. That is the technology hallway. We ask that when you come out of there, if you are moving with a purpose, not running, but moving with a purpose and not wasting time talking and socializing, or as I like to say, lollygagging, you'll hear that a lot over the PA, you'll be able to get out of the music suite and get to your classrooms in plenty of time. So please, no sprinting out of the music hallway. Dress code. I know that it's warm, but this is a school, it's not the beach. We do not wear to school what we wear to the beach. You're coming to school, this is your job. When you go to your job, you're supposed to dress appropriately. So no hats, no do-rags, no short skirts. We shouldn't be seeing bellies. We shouldn't see pants drooping down and seeing underwear. Appropriate clothing, consider it professional school business attire. So please make sure that we address appropriately. Girls, again, we shouldn't be seeing bellies, no little spaghetti straps. Please address appropriately when you come to school. The cafeteria, and I'm saying this specifically because this is being recorded and we're going to be encouraging mom and dad to watch this with you. Mom and dad don't work here. No one is here to pick up and clean up after you. You're young adults now. When you have finished eating, you take your garbage and you throw it away. Now, thanks to Mr. Seifert, starting next week, there is going to be the opportunity to get outside for a little while during lunch. There's a little area outside of the cafeteria. They'll be able to go outside, get some fresh air. On days where it's nice, take a mask break out there. The ladies that work in the cafeteria will be setting up a rotating schedule for students to go out there so that we're not overcrowded, but again, you'll have that opportunity. So thank you, Mr. Seifert, for the vision in bringing that back. We had that years ago, and that will be returning. The last thing is, Mr. Seifert touched upon it, the hallway expectations. This is my big pet peeve. There is no reason to be screaming in the halls. There's no reason to be running in the halls, yelling in the halls. For some reason, middle school students feel the need to constantly hug, push, shove, or otherwise just make contact with their classmates. Keep your hands to yourself, especially now in the time of COVID. There's no reason to be yelling and screaming. People can hear you in the halls, all right? So let's be appropriate when we're going from point A to point B. In conclusion, our main focus is this year, reconnecting to your studies, making sure that you are getting the most out of being back in person. Your teachers, again, are excited to have you back in class and in person, not looking at you through a video screen. Ask questions, get involved, be part of the lesson. Make sure you're getting everything you can to build the solid foundation you're going to need moving forward. And good citizenship is the expectation. We treat each other with dignity and respect. If we don't have something nice and positive to say, don't say anything at all. That is so important. Ladies and gentlemen, we're looking forward to a great school year. We're excited to be back. We're excited that we're all back in person. As you've heard, we're going to be working towards bringing back activities for you throughout the year. Let's make this a great, fun year. Do your best. Let's be successful. Build that great foundation. Thank you and have a great day.